Yo, what's up? I'm Adam.
I'm Tessa.
And we are going to look at the new updates for DirectQuery against Power BI datasets and analysis services. Let's do this. If you're finding us for the first time, be sure to hit that subscribe button to stay up to date with all the videos from both Patrick and myself. And we have the honor of being joined by Tessa Hurr. She is a PM on the Power BI desktop team. Tessa, what do you do on the Power BI team?
I'm a program manager, and I work mainly on data modeling features and accessibility.
Tell me a little bit about this feature that you're going to show us and introduce. I know the world has been waiting for this. Just in a nutshell, like what exactly is this? What is DirectQuery over Power BI datasets?
The main gist of it is think of composite models as you know it today, but we're extending that to allow for live connected sources like Power BI data sets and Azure analysis services.
And then we can like mix and match with other things, right? We're kind of we're removing the barriers.
Exactly. Yeah. Personalization on top of your data sources and extending your data sources.
I remember Marco Russo had a tweet that was like, "This is the holy grail of BI." So we are ready, Tessa. No pressure. Enough of all this talking. Let's head over to your machine and actually see this in action.
Right now I have a blank PBIX. So I'm just going to start from scratch. I'm going to connect to a Power BI data set that I have. And let's say that this is a single source of data truth in my organization. And I want to be able to look at this data set that other people in my org have been using. So I'm just going to look up my particular data set and I'm going to hit create. So right now it's establishing that connection to my particular data set. When you connect to Power BI data sets, typically that is a live connection that you're making. In the status bar, you can see that it's telling me that it's a live connection and the particular source that I'm connected to. Another thing to note is a few months ago, we added in this ability for you to be able to see your model view, and this is the diagram of your data set that you've connected to. So I can see my Power BI data set here and all the tables that are within it. But if I just go back to my report view, I now see that the Get Data button and all my other data sources are still enabled. You can also see this button in the status bar in the bottom right-hand corner that says Make Changes to this model. And there's also an option in the Modeling View tab where it says Make Changes to this model. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and add some more data to this. So I'm just going to click on SQL Server because I have a database that I want to use here. And it'll say, hey, in order to make changes, you'll need to use a DQ connection. So what that means is that right now I'm live connected to my remote model. But in order to make personalizations on top of that or be able to extend that data model, I'll need to add a local model to this. So I'll have to convert to a DQ connection instead.
I've heard confusion around this with the naming of it. It's a little confusing for folks. And I think that's the big point that you mentioned is that when we're live connected, basically it's just a connection string to the model that's out there somewhere. It's not inside a Power BI desktop. But when we do this, we have to have some local reference to it. So that's the reason why it's called DirectQuery and not live connection. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, that's exactly it. So
excellent.
As you said previously, there wasn't really a model that we were managing or looking at, and we would just use that query string to go to your remote source.
Right.
But in order for Power BI to keep your sources in sync, if there's been any changes on the remote model, you'll need to convert it to that DQ connection. So I just hit change to a DQ connection. So I'm just gonna type in my server name and I'm just going to keep it in DQ. I'm going to click OK.
You could have imported the data, right? You didn't have to do DirectQuery on the SQL source, right?
Yeah, exactly. I could have done import. I didn't have to do DQ, but the point here is that you can add other data sources.
Nice.
So I'm just going to select a couple of tables of some data that I want to pull in here, and then I'm just going to add my data in. As you can see in the bottom right-hand corner, the storage mode now shows DirectQuery. So that was live connected source initially, and it updates to reflect DirectQuery now. I'm also going to get this dialog that tells me about a potential security risk. This is the same warning dialog that you have if you were using composite models before, but this is just giving you some information around that some data between your different sources and queries might be sent to the other source. This makes sense in the case of if you're using something like filters where that information might be passed through. So I'm going to go ahead and say, yes, I want to build this model. And once it creates that connection, if you look look in the fields list on the right-hand side, then you'll see that a couple of tables should also appear. So now I have my bike sales and my country tables are now in my fields list as well. Something I want to show you is the model view tab again. You may have seen this status bar show up in the November release, but you can upgrade to see the new model view UI. And I just want to give you guys a picture as to what the model view looks like now, as you guys know it. These are the bike sales and country tables that I had earlier. But if I click upgrade, then you can see that there's this new popped up. In this case, yeah.
So nice.
So this is a way for us to help you guys see your data groups a little bit better. We are trying to help you see what sources you've connected to and what's from the same source, so you can see that at a glance. The tables that I just had from my DirectQuery source for bike sales and country versus the ones that were in my Power BI data set, to make sure that we're accessible and we're friendly to people who might be colorblind or be using other assistive technology. You can also hover over the header of these cards and see information about the tables and the sources that they're coming from. So be sure to check that out and play around with it. Another thing I wanted to point out in the model view UI is that we have some more options in this properties pane. So you should definitely play around with these. You can look at collapsing and expanding the cards. A little pro tip is if you control click several cards at once, you can collapse them all at the same time by doing that. And you can also show the database in the header of these cards. So you can really modify this to have your personalizations and have a more minimalist view versus one that gives you more information.
Can we choose different colors?
Right now, no, but we do want to hear some feedback around that. So if you guys have suggestions around this, let us know. To really drive the point home, going back to our composite models in DQ over Power BI datasets and Azure Analysis Services, I can also add in another data source. I'm just going to go to Excel. I have this local spreadsheet that I want to add to this data model.
This is the magical moment right here. Yeah. This is it.
So when I add this data source in, I can just click this handy button in the bottom right corner once my table loads. I need to go through the navigator. Forgot about that. Got too excited.
You were so excited. You were ready for it. Power BI Desktop said, nope, hang on.
Let's try that again. Okay.
There it goes.
So you can see my targets table has also been imported in here. Something to note about imported tables is that when you have these data groups, any tables that you import will be shown as part of one data group. So if I had more tables that I import from another source, maybe even my SQL database, then it would show as part of the same data group.
The colors themselves are, it's the data grouping, it's not the data source specifically. So it's Live Connect versus DQ versus import.
Kind of.
Okay.
So for import, that is the case, but for tables that come from live connected sources or DQ sources, those will go by source. So some of the magic that we have with this feature is that I can combine then my data, can establish relationships and do personalization on top of that. So what I can do here is that I have my region field in targets, and I want to create a relationship between that and my sales territory region. So if I just drag and drop in the same way that I would with creating a relationship, I could do that same exact thing and create a relationship. And as a reminder, that sales territory table is the one that was live connected source. So now that we've created a relationship, I also want to go over to my data view. I'm just going to go through and make sure that my data type and the format are set to exactly what I want them to be and is meaningful to my report that I'm trying to make here. And I'm going to change the format to be currency. So going to my report now, I'm going to start to try to build some visuals and putting together some of my data. So I'm going to go to my sales territory and I'm going to pull out region. Then I'm also going to add my sales amount, and then I'm also going to add my target. So now you can see it all lives together in one table. I can build a visual that spans a bunch of different data sources. I can even add in a filter. So I can add in something like fiscal year to my filters on this visual. And if I want to have it filter to FY 2020, then it'll all work with my visual that I've created. And then to show you some more of the magic of composite models and this particular feature, let's say I want to create a measure that spans a couple of the different data sources that I brought in. So I'm going to make a measure that is around my variance to target. I'm going to do the sum of my sales amount, and then I'm going to subtract sum variance. All right.
Real world DAX writing right there.
One too many. There you go. Now it works. I've just created a measure that spans a couple of different tables that I have, and those fields come from different data sources. So I can now drag it into my visual, and it'll update and show that my variance can actually be displayed here as well. I'm not really a great report designer, but if I wanted to, I could go through and do my usual report authoring capabilities and add in things like conditional formatting, where I change the background color. You know, make this 0, so I can really evaluate in my particular use case what is the at a glance, you know, what am I looking for in terms of my targets for sales, and you add that in, and it's all dynamic and works like the rest of your report should.
Awesome. Amazing features. I know everyone's super excited about this feature. They've been waiting for it. This just released. So are there any limitations right now that people need to be aware of?
This is just the first release of many that are coming up. So we're actively working on releasing some of these limitations. So for the full list, I would go to the Power BI blog to check that out. We have this idea of chaining that we're starting to talk about, where you build a composite model on top of another composite model. So one thing I'd like to note to you guys is we have a maximum of 3 models in a chain right now. So if you have any feedback on that, we'd like to hear from you guys for sure on that.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to understand the use case around why would we need more than that. And we'll have a link in the description below to the blog post, the announcement there. There's a forum post as well, a forum post where it's like collecting more information about certain things, right?
Yeah, we definitely want to hear as much as possible from you guys on your thoughts around this feature, or you know, what you would prioritize or what needs to come next. So we'll have a community forum post where you can share more info.
Make sure you update to the latest Power BI desktop that just came out. Yay! And you will be able to take advantage of this as well. Tessa, thank you so much for being with us and showing us this.
Thanks for having me. It's my Dynacube debut.
Yes. All right. So again, let us know in the comments below if you have anything else to add or comment or things you want to know about. We will check those out. If you like this video, be sure to hit that big thumbs up button, smash it if you so desire. If it's your first time here, hit that subscribe button. And as always, from myself and Tessa, thank you so much for watching. Keep being awesome, and we'll see you in the next video.